Everybody, we will introduce you to the webinar platform, the Zoho webinar platform. Kind of a housekeeping here to understand how do we use this webinar platform to all of you. We have a Q&A icon on the top. You can click into that to put your question. You can type in your questions there, which we will be able to see, and we will be answering to those questions towards the end of the seminar. And you can also see an icon, that hand icon. So you can use that hand icon to ask questions to us. Moment you raise your hand icon, we will be able to visualize that, and we will be giving you permission to speak. Wait for a few seconds, maybe around 2-3 seconds, so that you will be given an access and you can speak to us in our discussions. And I would like to place an agenda in front of you for the webinar. The webinar is going to last for 45 minutes. We'll be introducing ourselves, and Mr. Alok Anand will take on to how aviation is being built up. And he will also introduce to us the most important topic for the day, that is the current aviation industry scenario. And followed by, we will have discussions together. I will be asking few questions to Mr. Alok, and thereafter the platform is open to you to to answer your questions through the question and answer Q&A sessions, or orally we will be allowing you to discuss upon. We expect the webinar to last around 45 minutes. That's the way to go about. So let me introduce myself. By the way, I'm Vishwanath. I head the training department in Acumen Aviation. I joined Acumen Aviation the last year. It has been 1 year for me to head this particular training department. It's been almost 20 years now in training and technical services in aviation and in other industrial establishments, which include Jet Airways India, Vistara, which is Tata Airlines, Larsen & Toubro Limited in Mumbai. And I was an approved B1 maintenance instructor for B777 aircraft, A330, B737, ATR, 737 MAX. And I also had the necessary approvals from Indian DGCA and the Gulf Civil Aviation Authority of United Arab Emirates. Apart from the technical responsibilities, I took part in training and development, counseling and guidance activities. Few articles have been published. One of the notable one is in FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, Human Factors Quarterly Magazine. And I currently possess aircraft leasing and finance qualification from IATA. Having served as a maintenance instructor, and always used to think, how do I enhance my qualifications or take efforts to upskill with the possibilities that we have in the aviation industry. And I was lucky enough to explore one and taking my career forward as head of the training in this asset management company. I remember, Alok, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I remember you told me once that you wish to reach out to aviation community for them to explore the possibilities in this leasing and financing field. It's an asset management field. So I have taken this opportunity to discuss with him on behalf of you all through my heart for this, taking this webinar as a platform. To tell you a little about Alok, he will explain you more about himself and about Acumen Aviation. Alok founded Acumen Aviation in 2009. Under his leadership, Acumen grew its footprint to be a global group of 4 companies providing the state-of-the-art consultancy solutions in aviation asset management. It gives me a great pleasure and to request Alok Anand to introduce himself and brief us on current state of aviation industry, and also talk how he built the Acumen Aviation. Alok, it's over to you.
Thank you, Vishnath. Appreciate If I'm going too fast or too slow, please feel free to prompt me. Okay, so just a little bit about myself. In my past life, I used to be an aircraft engineer. I've worked in various airlines in India, and the very last airlines I ever worked in was Air Deccan, the first of its kind in this region, low cost carrier, and subsequently grew through the ranks, had an exposure in various areas of airline operation, tech focused, heavily tech focused, but managed to get involved into operation side also in maintenance control and operations control. And subsequently, it just so happened that though I had no plans, but it just so happened, as things sometimes do tend to happen, that I happened to find this business, Acumen Aviation. Had a few friends whom I called upon, and I was surprised they did not, and I still say to them, they did not take a moment's hesitation to join me, and they're still working with me, all those friends. And Acumen has now become what it is, a global asset management provider. We basically provide services for aircraft origination, asset structuring, lease structuring, and everything which is in between. Tech was originally our solid base. More than now, we are in the 11th year, actually in our 12th year of operation. And tech used to be our base, but from there we have grown now into digital, into commercial, into trading, and we do everything else in between, including aircraft appraisals. So I'm very proud of the team we have, and I think it's thanks to the team we have that we have reached where we are. Having said that, so that is about me and Acumen in general. That our global footprint is now in four countries as offices. We have a staff strength of 95 as of this morning, and we have some 200 to 300 contractors who work with us worldwide. Some of them work with us on a exclusive basis. Some of them work in an independent manner. I think some of them are possibly in this webinar today, attending this webinar as well. So one of the things we have realized over the years is, and especially in this time, is that there is an increasing curiosity about job opportunities in asset management and in this field, aviation leasing and asset management. A lot of people we work with are tech, but we work with a lot of non-tech, commercially focused finance side people also. We work with camos and all kinds of organization. And this is the right time where we felt that on a personal level for me and for Acumen, everybody in general, we are receiving a lot of requests for job opportunities and guidance about career opportunities. A number of people, unfortunately, in these times, and are struggling. One thing before we go on to next point is that this is a very unique situation. I'm sure you have already heard that many times. This is not a true blue economic crisis. This is much worse. This is not a problem of a business facing liquidity pressures only, though that is part of the problem. It's a solvency issue. Businesses are really not able to operate. So when you're not able to operate, you can't generate money, and you can't generate money, you can't keep people employed. So actually, I'm in one of those camps where I don't really blame the airlines, though I'm sure there are cases for and against it, but it is a problem right now. And we are trying to, as part of the community, we want to try and help people as much as we can, which we are trying. And I thought that this is an opportunity where we can offer some guidance also, and discuss mutually between the various colleagues in the industry if they have any questions or concerns. Vishal, I think I've taken enough time in the beginning. Go ahead, please. Please go ahead with your agenda items. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alok. So that was on current aviation industry scenario. Alok spoke about. In fact, I would open up my heart. Most of the questions which were asked to me by our industry colleagues. So I made a list of those questions. I'll be asking on behalf of you all to Alok those questions which will set a path for us to understand what are the possibilities of the career opportunities in leasing and asset management. So, Alok, the first question to you. Some years ago, you made the decision to leave a lucrative job as a maintenance engineer to pursue a very different career. What was it that drew you from aircraft maintenance to an alternative career in asset and leasing management?
Well, it was an accident actually, which happened. Accident of career change. So it wasn't a plan. And I think right, lot of our friends in the industry today may be at the same stage of their careers. So that's why it is a good question at this time, because I can kind of identify with people what they're going through right now in their careers. So for me, what had happened was that the company I was working in was acquired, and I was offered a job with the newly formed joint entity in another city. I was living in Bangalore that time, where I still continue to love to live, and I love Bangalore. Though I travel the world now, a lot of other cities I like, obviously, but I love being here. And I did. One of the issues was I did not want to leave the city where I was living. I wanted to be here. And somebody just mentioned there in QA, everybody comes in aviation by accident. Well, I did not come in aviation by accident. I came into this aviation leasing by accident. Aviation, I made a conscious decision to join. So what happened was that I was in between a situation where I was accepting some narrow body airplanes for the company I was working in. I was in Toulouse that time, accepting airplanes. And in my network, there was this gentleman who works with us now. He's on our board of directors, and I owe my career to him a lot. Has been my mentor, Mr. Brand Bradbury, who was there, and he guided me that there is an opportunity that somebody in aviation leasing, a lessor. At that time, my understanding of the aviation leasing industry was zero, next to zero. I hardly knew anything, except I know there are some companies who lease airplanes. And they said they are looking for somebody to work with them. Will you be interested? And I said, yeah, sure. So there was no requirement for me, frankly, to look for a job. Beyond that, it was just something of curiosity. So I took it up. I discussed with these guys at that time. That leasing company was Evas, who is no more now around. They have been acquired by DAE, and I made some lifelong friends in that company at that time. Many of them don't work with them anymore now. They've moved on to other roles. But the opportunity came where I started working with them. I took a contract. I signed something without even properly understanding at that time, because I was only an engineer. My legal and commercial understanding was almost zero. Anyway, that is how I moved into this field, Vishnath. And then from there, the opportunity happened. I started understanding the field, and I decided, yes, maybe I can take a risk. And it did look like a risk. I'm talking about 2008 and 9, right after the financial crisis. So this is why I'm saying I can identify with the today's time. And many of the people today in the aviation industry, I think, will end up starting their own businesses in different fields in various areas. There is no better time to do it than this. That's what my experience is. Anyway, so this is how I got into it.
Okay, so you started off in from the point of crisis. In fact, we hear in the market, when there is a blood in the market, we need to invest. So it goes in the same contrary. Second question to Alok, to you: keeping aviation professionals of different disciplines in mind, would you tell us what you believe are some of the opportunities available in leasing and asset management?
Well, see, the thing is that one of the things which happens when we are into airlines, we always are focusing on how the aviation industry is working as an AME, as an ex AME now. Nobody who works with me today will tell you that I am an AME. I'm far removed from it, but I used to be an AME. One of the pros and cons of being an AME or an aviation person is our world is very small. It's a small community, and we think everything resides in that. So there are two things here. One is there are multiple areas, service areas around the aviation, not just airlines. So, for example, you can explore many sections into tech services, camos, aviation financing and leasing. Aviation financing and leasing is a big area of growth, for example. And likewise, there are many other areas where we can focus on, where we can explore career opportunities today. Because revenue, commercial, ground handling, there are many other areas. Now, I know that our majority audience today is tech and aviation leasing side. So for them, see, the good news is that today the aviation leasing industry is growing. Banks are getting into it. And they are in need of project managers. They are in need of people who can come in and become asset managers. So it's not purely tech focused. But however, to do that, one has to be able to look outside their narrow vision of only getting an aircraft license and being a focused aircraft engineer or those qualifications. So one of the things which happens with engineers, and I think to certain extent with pilots, is that they live in this bubble of their licenses and they continue to grow towards that and work only in that area. While they get qualified in that, that restricts their growth. Now, I'm not advocating that we should throw away our licenses, not grow that. I'm simply saying look outside that also. So, one is that multiple domains are available in aviation other than just the routine ones in airlines. And secondly, there are other industries from which we can learn best practices and apply it in our industries too. That awareness has definitely gone up now, but it is still not to the level where we would like it. I would like it on. Have I answered your question, Vishnu?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult question too in this perspective because there are so many disciplines here, and I will be coming to those questions in particular, referring to few disciplines in mind. So, especially for the engineers and the technicians who are in aircraft maintenance, so what type of jobs they can look for in leasing and asset management?
See, if an air, okay, to answer it factually straight up, an aircraft engineer or somebody who has tech background can hope to get a job into aviation leasing and asset management companies as a project manager, as an asset manager also. There are number of, but here is the thing: you need to broaden your learnings. So again, I'm drawing a parallel with the rest of the world. See, this is the new world is not a world of specialization, unfortunately. This is a world of generalization. You need to learn everything about everything. So one of the things I think by accident I did right when I was in my past job, I tried to learn everything about what was going on in the company I was working in. So when you get into a job, and many of you may be already doing that. When you get into a job or in an opportunity, try to learn everything about everything. Learn the trade. That's the difference between learning your job and learning the trade. If you learn the trade, that means if you're in an airlines, for example, you should know everything from the point of ticketing to the point the aircraft flies and comes back. What happens in between? Everything. If you learn that, then the opportunities are endless for you. So you should know all that. So likewise, if you're looking at aviation leasing and finance, the obvious thing is, okay, I can go and work as a tech rep, but that's a very grassroots level job. You can do that, no doubt, for a short term. But then you need to grow up. You need to learn what else happens. So when you inspect an airplane, why do you think an airplane is inspected? It's inspected because aircraft has to be valued and assessed, and there is a valuation process behind it. Who does that? How it is done? Why the data and records have to be analyzed? Where is the value which is lying? Is it in the records or is it in the asset, the metal itself? What else happens? What is the commercial process? What are the legal agreements? All those opportunities are open. One of the beauty of the aviation industry, leasing industry, is it doesn't restrict you by necessarily just specializations. Yes, they need lawyers, no doubt, and lawyers is a specialized profession. But other than that, everything else in between is open to everybody. You have an opportunity. We have an example in Acumen. We have examples in Acumen where people who are in commercial or technical have moved into commercial and trading, and vice versa. And I know a number of colleagues in the aviation leasing who have moved from technical to commercial and sales and other ancillary activities too. So, like somebody has just asked a question for non-licensed personnel. Aviation leasing does not ask you for getting licenses. While the licenses are valued as a qualification, they're not a must. Your experience and how smart you are with the information and how you process that information is really valued the highest. Go ahead, Vishwanath. Please.
Okay. In extension of the same question here, there are colleagues of in aviation who are from quality and technical services and planning area. They are not actually into the maintenance as engineers or technicians. What are the possibilities here for those people who do not have a direct maintenance experience on field.
Okay. See, it is not necessary. Okay, so first of all, let us draw a parallel between this and an airlines. So if you're in an airlines, you are normally divided. If you are talking, you're focusing on tech on these questions. So if you look at tech, a technical person is somebody who goes on the metal and works, and an engineering is somebody normally who manages the back office, the planning, the records, etc., etc. Normally, and this may be unpopular opinion, but I'll speak it out as my opinion on this. Normally, the people who race through the ladder normally are the engineering persons, not the tech persons, because the tech people normally are having blinkers on and they're focusing on their licenses, and that is extremely rewarding for them. And it's, I know it is very satisfying to be able to change an engine as a work satisfaction also, and it is well paying job, right? But what happens in that is you then lose focus of the bigger picture. So likewise, in this field, aviation leasing also, people who don't necessarily have a tech experience and have an engineering background or a commercial experience, like in Acumen, we employ people, we have employed people who were from insurance and credit rating background, who had nothing to do with technical. And today they are preparing for their ISTAT programs, for example, where they may become a certified valuation expert in Acumen without actually being exposed to technical so far. Now they are though exposed to it. So a journalist can learn many things, you know. So there are opportunities for people who are in aviation revenue. So a key role in aviation is revenue management. You have to calculate your revenue, you have to calculate your best effective routes. That is valuable information in aviation leasing also, because the lessors want to be able to know that how their assets are performing. They're able to decide what lease rentals are effective or optimum for them, and this information is also very handy there. So there is opportunity for every role, but you have to learn the nitty gritty of the aviation leasing side, then the language of aviation leasing, how aviation leasing works, how it doesn't operate, etc., etc. All that needs to be clearly understood.
Yeah.
Then it is possible. You know?
Yeah. Thank you. The main question comes, and industry colleagues are puzzled. Uh, how do we start our career into the leasing? If I have to enter into this field, what is the way out?
See, one of the things is that one of the things about aviation, I must add a disclaimer. Aviation is a very small industry. It's small not in terms of just community. It is small also in terms of opportunities. Unfortunately. Okay, having said that, the pie has become bigger, that there are number of companies worldwide. Like somebody has mentioned a comment here, asset manager roles available in India. Well, Acumen hires asset managers. Maybe we are not hiring right now, but we do hire them. Okay, and then there are companies in China and Southeast Asia and other companies. Again, Singapore, I know of number of people from India who have gone on to Singapore and working as asset managers now, and number of other people. So there are other opportunities, not just leasing though, but leasing, yes, there are opportunities to operate on a contractual level. If you have a qualification which can so the easiest way to possibly get in, somebody looks at, is to work on a contractual job. But I would not strictly recommend that. My recommendation would be to grow your skill sets first. So before you try to get into that industry, you need to ask yourself, do you have the skill sets? Do you understand the language of aviation leasing? Do you understand what a lease is, what a sale lease back is, what a purchase lease back is, what a SLBC is? Example. Do you
Mm,
understand that? If you
yeah.
don't, if you don't, I think you should use this downtime to grow your skill sets first. Learn about that industry. Attend events. Actually, what is bad about this pandemic is also the good. The bad is we're not traveling as much, but the good is everything is happening online. Because everything is happening online, your ability to attend or grow your skills is actually more today. Though your
Okay.
networking ability may be less, but you can use those 24 hours to do more today than you would have done in the pre-pandemic days. So I think you should look at the silver lining and grow your skill sets. Attend as many events about the industry as you can. Many of them are having online networking also. Grow your network in that area. Watch out for job postings. I've been watching job postings regularly on the aviation leasing, which have been happening. It is true that still the majority of leasing companies are west focused, But there are companies in the east part of the world today and banks who are involved in this industry who are also looking to make hires regularly.
Okay.
But you can't just expect that without knowing anything ABCD about the industry, you will get a job. Naturally, in any industry, it doesn't happen. You may get something at the grassroots level, yes. But if you want to get something more meaningful and grow, my recommendation is grow your skill sets first.
Okay. So we need to learn everything about everything. So that's one of the tagline. And yes, we need to develop some skill sets. That's the point to be noted. Yeah. Now, as you already mentioned, licensing and aircraft authorization may not be a requirement in this asset management and leasing industry. And I would like to ask another question to you. The scenario in 2008 and 2009 and the scenario today due to pandemic is totally different. There were airline companies who were still operating, and there was some the transport requirements, and the travel industry was still existing. But this pandemic situation has brought in a lot of block to the aviation industry itself. So, what is your advice to the aviation professionals? Should they wait for a possible revival in the aviation industry, which is mostly difficult for another 6 months, or should they go ahead and learn the new skill sets and look for an alternative career, which will be easier to choose?
Okay, this is a I cannot answer that question for individuals, Vishnath, that what is the choice for an individual, because that depends on their own circumstances. But my universal advice is, since you're asking me, is continue to grow your skill sets. So, like in our own company, and I'm very proud to say that, I think I'm possibly the least qualified person. Everyone else, including you know that, are highly qualified, and I'm very proud of the fact, because in Acumen, one of the good things is see everybody who's in Acumen circle, management, running the business, is always, when I ask them, so what are you doing on this weekend? I'm attending an MBA course. I'm attending a certificate course on leasing. I'm attending an IATA course. I'm doing this course. I'm doing that course. And the qualifications are going up. And I can see why people are doing that. So we have this learning culture, and now we have a training department, thanks to you, where we conduct number of training courses. So learning should never stop. It's not necessary that it has to be a formal learning. There are informal learnings which are also possible. In today's world, it is possible online and through books. People have asked questions about that. Right now, I can see that, and we'll try and answer them in the end of this session. We'll try and give more information on that. But yes, so that should always continue. You are asking me, should they wait for 6 months for a job, same job to come back? Well, they have to ask that to themselves. If they're able to sustain for 6 months, see, if there is no other choice. But what you should not do is just sit down and give up and say, oh, nothing is happening. Keep yourself busy, learn skill sets, work on yourself, make yourself better on the skill side, sharpen your blade, so to speak, and look for network and opportunities. And if something comes up in between, grab it. Now, it's a difficult thing to say, but I will say one more thing. One of the reasons sometimes people don't grow into their careers sometimes is they make short-term decisions. And when I took the break into aviation leasing, as you had mentioned, I was in a very, very well-paid and very well-settled career. And my own income took 5 years to come back to the level where I was when I left my job.
Oh.
Okay, so my mantra is, please focus on learning, especially the ones who have possibly less responsibilities. And I know people are bound by their own realities and family commitments, and I appreciate that. We all have that. But if you can, try to make focus on learnings, and you will see that your income and your career growth will accelerate if you become skilled focus. That is one advice I would have. That I like to say that many times, but I just wanted to add that bit.
Okay, yeah, that was really opening up the people's mind here. There is one more small confusion across the aviation community, that is it this leasing industry the physical inspections, the redelivery inspections, who are being performed on the asset as an asset management exercise. Is it related to only airframe and engine experience, or even avionics people can get into this field?
Anybody can do it. There is no such restriction. There is no such formal restriction. Okay.
Okay.
But you need to, so in Acumen, for example, now I'm sure that every company has their own way. We are an asset manager. We have certain assets who are under our lease administration, where we manage their bank accounts, invoicing, commercial, board of directors, special purpose vehicles. But we also have a large number of assets on which we do purely only technical management, where we do inspections of the nature you mentioned. So the way we do it is, we look for normally people who have aviation tech know-how background, but that tech know-how is not restricted to airframe and engine only, because we feel that can be taught. Because you're not looking for a licensed engineer, strictly speaking. Though having a license is good, it's nice, it's desirable, but it's not a must in this field, because you're not certifying it from an authorization or airworthiness point of view. You're inspecting an airplane for a commercial point of view. The key difference is, in an airlines, you inspect an asset for airworthiness. When you work in aviation leasing, you are not working for an airlines. You're working for really a bank. So your point of view is focused, and your inspections are focused from an asset value point of view.
Okay.
So if an engineer, for example, finds a scratch on an aircraft, an AME would look at a manual to decide to let the aircraft fly or not. But if you are an inspection job for us, you are not authorized to decide that anyway. But you will capture that scratch and you will report it. And you will refer to AMM or SRM and you'll say, I found an issue. Now, you're no one to decide whether that asset is airworthy or not. That's not your concern. And you're not supposed to decide that. But you will definitely give your opinion whether it is within the limits or not if asked. Actually, you're not even supposed to do that. You're supposed to simply tell us what issue you found, because that information is then used by an appraiser. And I'll come to that. Somebody's asked that question. I see what is that. But that is then used by our appraiser team to value the asset, for example.
Okay.
So, and if you are an avionics background AME or a technician who join us, for example, we will put you through a training process, which you only do, Vishnap. You are head of our training.
Yeah.
So you will put them through a training. They will be put on projects at a basic level to learn the ropes first, and then they are slowly, roped into a more evolved role where they do independent projects.
Yeah. So Alok, one of the exercise that I carried out was the training need analysis. So I have derived a few. So the industry, the colleagues have these questions in their mind whether avionics would be suitable here or not. Yeah, you have answered that. Two more questions to go, then we will take up these sessions with the participants.
I can see a number of questions waiting for us. Yeah, after that. Go ahead.
Are salaries and compensations in this industry in any way comparable with airline salaries on average?
In general, yes, that is my experience. The people who work at the top tier levels for us, for example, I think they are earning comparable or even more in some cases with the people at same levels in various airlines. I'm comparing regions to regions. Ireland will compare it to our Irish employees with Irish operators. India will naturally compare the employees we have here with their Indian operator counterparts. So yes, at a buying parity level and dollar to dollar or rupee to dollar or renminbi in China or in USD terms or Irish euro terms, if you compare that, yes, I would say yes. Having said that, if you are working in airlines all your life and you're entering this industry or any new industry, for example, you will have to expect to start somewhere. If you're expecting that I will jump my career and I'll straight away be taken with open arms with the same package which I was earning, then unfortunately may not happen, because you are not, though you are having the tech know-how or commercial know-how, basic, but you may not know the nitty-gritty of the industry as such.
Okay.
So sometimes you may have to go through the motion, go through those ropes, learn the ropes, and then go expect a level of package. This is why I said that is where the long-term view comes in.
Okay. To get into the skill sets, we have either go for a formal education on it, or kind of seminar or the training programs, or we can learn on our own through the textbooks literature that is available. But to gain these qualifications, so one of that Okay, as support, we have started our training programs. But however, if one has to reach to these training programs, what is the way to get into this? Are these qualifications recognized by the asset management companies?
See, the qualifications are given due consideration in the sense that, see, first of all, there are it's a truth, unfortunately, that this particular aviation leasing arm of the aviation side has the minimum number of skill development courses in the world. It has been largely an unorganized industry, though it is changing now over the last few years.
Mhm.
I know one or two countries or one or two universities in the West have started offering formal courses, which is great. It was not the case few years back at all. There are also unorganized, structured courses, but they have very high levels of barriers of entry, like ISTAT, where we are a member, obviously, but the barriers of entries are too high. So this was the reason, actually, one of the reasons, if you remember, Vishnath, we decided to get you on board because one of my frustration was when I started 12 years back, there was no guidance, there was no valuable information or tutoring available how to do what to do. I had to learn on the job. I was fortunate to work with with industry colleagues who were very patient with my mistakes. They taught me, they held me, and then I learned. But it was difficult, I know. And many times when we hired people in Acumen last few years, and other people I've spoken with in the industry, have faced same problems. So to address that, we started to do what we are doing now with you, where we are offering various courses. But I'm no means saying this is not a marketing seminar where I'm recommending everybody joins an Acumen course and learns. Just giving that as an example. There are courses available, I think, in Ireland, in US, and possibly maybe in, I think, I'm not sure, but maybe in Singapore also there are other courses available which are trying to address this skill gap. Those courses can be enrolled. I know IITA offers such certain courses as well, which can be enrolled online. And right now, everything must be online, I'm sure. So those courses can be enrolled where you can, and there is a lot of reading material available. A lot of the companies like us, and even we ourselves, we regularly publish a lot of white papers and articles on our websites and our blogs, which have information from the ground level up to the highest level, which can be accessed. It's not ideal, so that is why to address it, courses are required. And among various industry initiatives, one of the initiatives has been from us, where we have started offering proper skill development courses.
Okay, thank you. One last tagline, if you want to sum up our discussions before we take the questions from the audience, the participants, what will be that one sentence you would like to put it to the participants here?
You mean what is the one message you're saying for the?
Yeah, you should give at least one line message,
Well,
the
I
participants.
would simply say that please focus on the positives which are coming out of this situation. I know many of our industry colleagues are struggling right now with their careers, with the job opportunities, limitations, and this is kind of a perfect storm. Everybody is struggling, and nobody's struggle is any less. But stay positive. Focus on, look at what this downtime can do for you, which you couldn't do earlier. Like for me, for example, there were things I wanted to catch up on, which in last few months of lockdown I've tried to catch up on. Books I wanted to read or skills I wanted to acquire myself. And likewise, there are others I'm sure who are doing the same. So focus on that. Network. And remember, when you network, focus on quality networking. Don't try to spray and pray, that won't work. So do a quality networking, reach out to industry key executives and ask for guidance. Most of the time people are willing to help, to give guidance. If like I've been approached on my personal network many times by people, I've tried to respond to everybody. It is not always possible to respond to everyone, in the sense that everyone who has reached out, not everyone but many have expected that we just go back to them and say, here is a job for you. If you don't have a job, unfortunately we don't have one, but we can surely guide to a certain extent what you should be doing in this period. Grow some skills, start working at least on a contract basis, or learn. Like, maybe had I been in this situation today, possibly I would have gone somewhere and even started doing an internship to learn. I don't see that as a problem for me. I'm just saying about me. It may not be a choice for everybody, but anything you learn today will come very handy, because this crisis will blow over. It's a matter of time now. Already the world seems to be slowly moving towards a direction, the right positive direction. I think it will blow over and huge opportunities will emerge. New companies will come up. So those of us who are used to that, or who have used this time to grow ourselves, stay positive, will grab onto that.
Okay, thank you. Dear participants, we have now the floor open to you all. Now it's your questions. There are two ways to go about it. The questions which are already there on our screens, which are being typed by you. So we will go through those. If anybody wants to speak, you can raise their hand. We will allow few participants to ask us the questions. So you can use the hand icon to ask questions. We can allow the mic open to you.
Yeah, maybe
So
we can allow two,
yeah,
three. In the
yeah,
meanwhile, Vishal, what I will do is I'll start reading and starting to
yeah,
answer the questions which are there. Yeah.
yeah. That's right.
Okay. So I think the first two there, opportunities for non-licensed Europe MEA, we have addressed already briefly in our conversation. I'll go on to the next one in interest of time. Can you elaborate appraiser? An appraiser is basically someone, appraising means to put a value to something. So in aviation also, assets are trading all the time. The companies or banks were buying or selling them, or airlines were financing them, getting them financed. So to do that, you need to be able to find out what is the value of an asset. For example, an Airbus 320 may be bought from Airbus today, new, brand new, at for 50 million US dollars, let's say. After 5 years, its value may be, let us say, 30 million. I'm just giving numbers on top of my head. I'm not a certified appraiser. So, but to do that, to decide that what is the real value of it, you have to do a certain assessment, and after that you give a value. That is done by people who are trained to do that. There is no formal world recognized training or recognition for it, but there is a non-profit organization which is it goes by the name of ISTAT, International Society for Transport Aircraft Trading, where various aviation companies and leasing companies are members. They conduct non-formal training, very limited training, mind you. It's mostly self training, and they conduct exams to grant certification. These certifications are informally recognized by the banks and leasing companies, that they are a sign of competency, that okay, you have been certified by ISTAT, means you can value an asset. But it is not formal. Even if you don't have it and you can prove your credentials by your work, I know of people on the market who do aircraft valuation and who don't have ISTAT certification. But that is what appraising means. Let's go on to the next one. Any books or other resources you would recommend? There are a number of books. They are, I think, available on Amazon ebook store also. I, on top of my head, I know there is, I can't remember a name on top of my head, but I promise you, Vishnath, if I'll appreciate, we make a note of this request.
Yeah,
This is from Shane Moffat here. We will go back to him with the list of such books and resources. As far as online resources are concerned, as I mentioned, there are various blogs published, articles published by companies like us and other companies who provide services like us, even leasing companies. One good example is Avalon, one of our clients, who publishes regularly very competent white papers. Almost every few months, they come out with detailed studies online available freely to download and read and understand the industry. There are regular events and online training happening now by various platforms, including us. So I'll recommend Shane, you and others in this call right now, a webinar, refer to them. But we will send you a list of some books also. Yes.
yeah. So
Okay. There's somebody who made a comment about a permanent job. I'll skip over that. We're not addressing that yet. But yes, there is a chance of permanent job if a vacancy opens up with us and other companies too. Yes. You say license and non-license doesn't matter, but I know leasing firms pay both these schemes different. Why so? This question is asked by Vijaya. Vijaya, no, that's not true. I don't know where your exposure has been. When you're working in a MRO, it's possible the company you have negotiated with may have used this as a negotiation level. As I mentioned to you, licensing is desirable. If you are a licensed engineer and you say, I have a license, pay me more for what I'm doing, maybe some leasing company took that into consideration. But there is no formal requirement like that. I'm an
okay.
AME with maintenance experience. Is there any manual study material available for getting a basic info? I think already answered that question. Is anytime in future pre-COVID-19 travel era will come back, or what we'll get used to work online, work from home era? Asked by Karthik, Nakul, Suresh Babu. So Karthik, the answer is yes. It will be my opinion. This is not the seminar for this topic, but to answer that question, I am looking at minimum 2 to 3 years before we go to pre-COVID-19 travels. What actual steps required to improve the skill set? I think already answered that in a lot of detail. What are the skills which are essential to enter? Well, the skills which are essential is that you need to understand the nitty gritty of how the industry operates in terms of, as I mentioned, for example, assuming you're an engineer or a tech person inspecting an asset, and you're looking at how the asset actually is, which condition it is. Your point of view, some will argue, has to be much more detailed. You're not looking at purely a certification airworthiness, though that is a very critical element of the job for an aircraft engineer. You're looking at from a commercial point of view. So if there is a minor damage in the cabin, that may reduce the value of the asset, for example, though it may or may not affect the airworthiness. So the skill sets required is attention to detail, analytical skill sets. It helps a lot if you are good with computers. A lot of this industry works on online platforms or reporting online. It helps a lot with that. So attention to detail, analysis ability, yes, willingness to travel a lot if you're on the field, and ability to see the asset for what it is beyond just the obvious technical defects. Please tell me which training program is suitable for learning leasing. I think we have answered that. This question has been asked in different ways, but we have answered that, right? How many leasing companies are there in India at present? Well, there is zero leasing companies in India at present. If you mean how many leasing companies actually have an office here, zero. But there are leasing companies worldwide. Most of them have interest in India. They have assets which they have leased out in India. And here is something else. The Indian government is working on changing the rules in India, aircraft financing and commercial RBI rules, to allow setup and operation of homegrown aircraft leasing companies in India. So that's on the anvil. That is right now going on. We are close to it because we are working with the Ministry of Civil Aviation and Ministry of Finance in this program ourselves. So hopefully you will see homegrown leasing companies coming up soon. Do asset management companies generally take up operational technical service functions as well for their clients? SB, AD review, engine trend monitoring. Yes, they do sometimes, but very rarely. See, an asset management company may not just have a leasing company as a client. They may even have sometimes an aircraft operator. Like we, for example, we provide our services to aircraft operators also. One of the biggest airlines in China, for example, is our client today. We work with them, and they use us for technical expertise. But time to time, they may use us for engine expertise. They may take our opinion on trends, and even sometimes a leasing company may need that help. An airline will do that for the purpose of their own operation only, but they may need outside help when they have shortage of staff, so they hire somebody, or a lessor may need that help when the aircraft is in between operators, and it is a responsibility of the lessor at that time to maintain the asset. Do you employ freelancers? Yes, we do. We do employ a number of freelancers. You need to contact our website, and there is a connect at acumen.aero site. Put in your CV. However, there is a long pipeline. We are currently and continuously interviewing people all over the world. So please apply there. Wish you all the best on that. We do employ them. Yes. Please send me the list of books. Also, we'll send the Vishnath. We can send the list of those publications to everybody in this. And we shared the recording.
Yes.
Does leasing jobs involves a lot of travel? Yes, it does involves a lot of travel, but it depends what job you're doing there. See, there are people who do asset management there. Sometimes they have to travel a lot. People who do sales and commercial who have to travel a lot. If you are, however, doing data administration, data analysis, or those kind of roles, naturally you won't be traveling that much. But operational roles, most of the operational roles do require a lot of travel. Okay, I'm going to jump over the comments and go to questions only. Where can I enhance my skills regarding aircraft lease agreements? transitions and preparations of agreements. Well, as I said, Karthikeyan, who's asked this question, IATA offers online trainings on these subjects. We also are offering such trainings. We have also tied up, and I know there are other training available online in the West where they're offering trainings online on these topics of legal side of the agreements. So these are very specialized subjects. So just be careful who you choose to provide you the training. I would recommend first step IATA because that will be standardized, and thereon you can look at other options. IATA has online training modules available for this. How is the job opportunity for females as project managers? Well, aviation leasing, in my opinion, is gender neutral. Having said that, aviation in general is gender neutral. I know, but yes, it's like any other society. There is no. We have, I think, in Acumen possibly we have maybe more women working today than men, possibly, and that's a great thing. So there are opportunities, I think, for everybody. There is, as long as you have the skill sets, you will get
Okay.
the job. I'm going to skip over a personal joining question, but the answer is same. You will have to apply, and Acumen has vacancies. You will be considered definitely. Practical training, not sir. It's about practical training, not online courses. It's about both. It's about getting practical hands-on experience, and it's getting trained also. Any website where we can find all listed consulting company? Sorry, I don't know of any such website which list. But as I mentioned, there are domains like many of these companies who provide such services. At least the premium companies will normally be members of ISTAT. So ISTAT publishes a directory on their website. istat.org is their website, where you will normally find the name of all the premium consulting and asset management companies. And you
Okay.
expect a long-term career? Yes, you can expect a long-term career. If you are ready to put in the hard work and grow, yes, you will. You can expect, yeah. Aviation leasing industry. See, aviation leasing today forms almost 50% of the world's leasing fleet, world's operating fleet. 25, 30 years back, there were hardly two, three assets. Today, there are 50% of the fleet leased out. That basically tells you leasing is growing. So leasing, and in future, though I don't think that the whole fleet in the world will be leased out, but a majority will be leased out, which means it will continue to grow. Every forecast out there from Boeing and Airbus and other OEMs says only growth is happening. More assets are coming in the market, which means the aviation leasing industries will continue to be in business for a long time. Airline operational control background. I have a BSc in aviation management, and I've recently law society diploma in aviation leasing and finance, which was been what other courses might be beneficial. Okay, this question has been asked by one Zoe Farrell. Zoe Farrell, what I would say is that you have done this course, what you are, then you will have a. I don't know where you are currently based, but if you're based somewhere in Singapore or in Europe or in America or in Middle East, there are leasing companies in these regions who look for skill sets of the kind you have. Having said that, they may start you at the ground level first. They may get you in a more analytic role or put you in a paralegal role given your qualification. But there are a number of leasing companies out there. I know of mid-tier leasing companies and the bigger ones who are continuously hiring and who are always looking for young graduates like you with these qualifications. So you may end up. I would say, see, your qualifications make you very suitable in an analytical role in a commercial department or in a paralegal. So there are roles in commercial, there are roles in aviation, finance side, and paralegal, where I would say your qualifications will suit.
Alok, he's working as a project manager in a ferry side of things.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's currently his position is.
Okay. So if he's in that role, then I think you must be exposed to the number of leasing companies which are there. And kudos, he has done so many courses. I think he can apply, he or she. I don't know if it's a he or she, but they can apply in those courses. Okay, I see that project manager on the ferry side of things. So, Zoe, if you're working as project manager as ferry side of things, you would have been exposed to what is going on the leasing side. Also, number of lessors are involved in aircraft movement right now. So, on their websites, I know of number of these leasing companies continuously hiring people. And what helps is reach out to them, send your CVs out, but please go to the websites and see what references they have on that. It helps if you have references in the industry also, obviously, and if you have, put them on there. And there are specific opportunities on paralegal side. Like I know in Acumen, few months back, we were looking for such a role as well, for example. There are many types of courses available. Can you pinpoint courses which are suitable to improve skill set in leasing industry? I think Vishnath, you are more suitable to
Yeah.
answer this question than me.
I
Yeah,
was about to tell you that I would take this question.
yeah,
In fact, uh, a year back, almost I was in the same shoes as that of the participants today. And I started looking out for all the possible qualifications and the training programs available in the world. So must have spent nearly 2-3 months on that. And I found there were few, but you need to be physically present. I went through the IATA courses. The one which was most suitable to us was the aircraft leasing and financing course. That is around 5 days course that is being offered. Then aviation law is another one. But for an engineer who wants to work for a redelivery project or a midterm project or pre-purchase inspection projects, I did not find anything which is available straight away, which will enhance the skills to make you suitable for this asset management work. They give you the background of a leasing industry and the way it functions and bit on the financing side. But yes, the direct skill set that will transform you to the asset management side is not available. So they
you're
were
right.
to, yeah,
Yeah. This is why the course we are planning in 2-3 months, for example. See, one of the things, not trying to plug in what we are offering, but we have identified these gaps ourselves. And this is why some of the courses we are offering, we are trying to plug these gaps. I'm sure there are others out there who are also possibly doing the same thing. So check out what, for example, Vishnath's team is doing. And I know, Vishnath, you're about to launch a diploma program with Jain University also in India soon, which will also be online, right?
yeah, it will
Which
be
will
on.
also be allowing people to bridge that skill gap, for example. Okay, should I move on?
Yeah,
On contract basis, can you work with more than? Yes, you can. Depends on the nature of your contract, how you're structuring your contract, but yes, you can. Which role? Okay, Cyril is asking which role in leasing finance he or she wants to travel a lot. Which role in leasing finance involves maximum travel? Normally, I've seen a tech or asset manager role or a sales role. It involves the most travel, in my experience. Which post can I apply with aircraft maintenance planning experience? Normally, aircraft maintenance planning is suitable for a data analytics role. For example, in Acumen, we have a wide data management team. We have some 5 or 6 leasing companies for whom we run a back office data administration and data analytics. And we normally prefer to hire people with aircraft maintenance planning experience in that, normally. It's an excellent foundation if somebody joins that team to grow up to the technical asset management or asset management role, because it teaches you the basics and grows you up with that. So that normally that qualification fits there very nicely. Any difference between tech manager and asset manager? A tech manager normally will be involved. It's the same difference what is in an airlines between a technician or an engineer, AME on the field, and an engineer who is in the office working in tech services. It's kind of the same difference, in my opinion. A tech manager will be involved in more on a front level, operational level, normally, though these roles can be interchanged sometimes. And an asset manager will normally be involved in a more techno commercial role, where they will be involved into lease negotiations, LOIs, letter of intent negotiations, drafting the lease written conditions, and working as a bridge between technical and commercial and legal side. Do you hire manpower for maintenance? No, we do not hire manpower for maintenance. We are not a maintenance organization, but our strategic partner, Airworks, who many of you must be knowing, they do hire them. Based in Ireland. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Is there any impact of recession or COVID pandemic on leasing industry? Yes, there has been an impact on the leasing industry because the airlines have run out of cash or their cash flow is highly stressed, so they are unable to pay their leases. If they're unable to pay their lease rentals, it impacts the cash flow of leasing industry also. And this is another reason, like for us, somebody like us, we were looking at a bumper year this year for various reasons. And we are also challenged in that sense that we have been forced to slow down our hiring process also, because overall, this is why I said, see, normally an economic crisis, normally leasing industry is not so heavily impacted. But this is not purely an economic crisis. This is something else. This is a health crisis. It's impacting every industry in the world. I don't know of any industry which has not been impacted. At least, and I know there are companies who have made tons of money. People are saying in digital space, but in general, everybody has been impacted, including leasing industry. Could you help throw light on power plant asset management opportunities? Leasing companies hiring through the pandemic. First of all, yes, they're hiring through the pandemic. I know that they're hiring. And power plant asset management. Power plant is a very key role. Power plant is considered a high skill set, and there is always a shortage of power plant. We have also been hiring on power plant side. Power plant engines constitute a major value of the overall asset, and there is always a skill shortage of it. It's an expensive skill to bring on board. But here is the thing: some people have shop experience on engines. Some people only have tech services engineering experience on engines. Ideally, both is required. And a very solid background, number of years of experience is required. Unfortunately, if you have limited experience on power plant, the opportunities on this industry is limited. Can we do internship with acumen? Yes, you can. It depends on what skill sets you're bringing on board. You can apply, and there can be opportunities available for interns. I have done MA Aviation Law and Air Transport Management. Great, from Nalsar University and YASA Engineer. Okay, great. What are the main? There's no question there, so I'm just going to skip that. What are the main duties of an asset manager? Main duties of as I explained, I think briefly earlier, an asset manager is normally part of the asset management team. What is asset management really? Is to oversee your assets, placing the asset on lease, handover of the asset, ensuring that the lease conditions are providing assistance, for example, to the legal paralegal team or commercial team for drafting lease conditions, and ensuring that through the life cycle of the lease, those conditions are implemented. Asset manager is a front facing role. You liaise with the operators, the airlines, and then you have to have an understanding of tech terms, and you have to have an understanding of commercial and legal terms also. Sorry.
So,
Please.
sorry to interrupt. Arjun
Yeah.
had asked, like, he has got MA qualifications in law and transport management. In
Yeah.
addition, he's an YASA engineer. He's asking, uh, can I get a job offer in aviation leasing or a redelivery side
Oh,
without
sorry, I didn't do that.
training,
Yeah.
without any more training?
Well, the quick answer is yes, you can. You can.
Yeah,
So the thing is, getting a job is okay, but see, here is the difference. Qualification on paper does not translate into experience.
yeah,
So you can get a job, definitely. What level you will get the job is depends on what is your understanding of the business. But sorry, I should have read that carefully. There was no, I missed that. Apologies. Is MBA required to be an asset manager? No, MBA is not required to be an asset manager. Understanding asset management is required to be an asset manager. Please elaborate on data analysis or data administration role. A data analysis or data administration role is basically an analytical work where you review the aircraft records to threadbare level or high level and review and find gaps in the data. It's a very important role because in aircraft asset management, an aircraft value is 60 to 70% driven by records, and only 30 to 40% is dependent on the actual metal. That doesn't mean that aircraft physically is not required. It is required. But when you trade assets, the value is driven by the quality of the records, because the records decide how good your asset has been maintained or its value is retained. So a data manager or a data analysis role is key to that. How well they review their records and how nicely they can find the gaps and then close those gaps can decide the value of the asset. Is there an internship in Dubai which you all know? I cannot say for sure, but I know there are two, three leasing companies in Dubai. There is DAE Capital, big leasing company, one of within I think world's top five, and there is Novus Aviation in Dubai as well. You can easily find them on Google. Both of them possibly maybe hiring interns. I know they hire interns. I know DAE hires interns, but you will have to reach out to them directly. But yeah, that is where you can get an opportunity in this field. I have done MBA Aviation Business Management. Is there any scope? MBA Aviation Business Management, I think will mostly be attuned to airline operations. It is a valuable skill to get, but to start in aviation leasing, you will need to get a little more exposure there. So my recommendation is apply for a job where you are involved into revenue administration or revenue kind of roles, commercial side, commercially focused roles in aviation leasing may get you an entry or a mid entry level job first to start with. I'm only saying it from a point of view. I don't know your background and experience, Kevin, who has asked this question. So I'm assuming that you're a kind of a fresher. That is why I said that. What parameters are taken into consideration at the time of a pre-purchase and midterm? It's a totally new topic. I mean, totally separate topic to answer.
Yeah.
I can give a separate lecture on that as to what parameters are taken into consideration. Unfortunately, it is not the topic of this discussion, but you can reach out to us separately. I think we have published some notes on our blogs also, Vishnath, which answer this, and we also conduct currently midterm trainings which answer these questions. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, is there any apprentice program available for maintenance person? If it is on which role, you can do apprentice. If Acumen today hires an apprentice and you have a purely maintenance background, it will be at the ground level to work in our technical and asset management team as an analyst to first learn the ropes. If it is an intern we are hiring, what are the opportunities if we would do inspection courses with Acumen? If you see, the thing is this, as I said, we're not a, if you do an inspection course, the course we conduct, it opens your skill set level, you gives you skills. And then when you apply for a opportunity, see, one of the challenges is somebody had mentioned earlier the license and non-license. It's the same issue, experience. Doing a course like this proves that you have exposure to that work now. And when you discuss with a client and work opportunity, you will be able to hold your own in that you understand the field and the work. And that will give you the opportunity to do your work and have a better chance of grabbing a job than not. But ultimately, it all depends on your own skill sets and ability. Any particular software used for data, asset, and lease management? Number of softwares are used. Number of companies provide B2B, business to business software tools. Acumen, for example, has its own software tool. It goes by the name of Sparta. It's actually free to use. Anybody who's an aircraft inspector, if you are an aircraft inspector and you're looking for a free tool to use to do aircraft inspections, you can go in, create your free account, use the tool. You will be doing the job, but you will be using the tool to deliver reports to customer. I'm sure there are other tools in the market possibly. I'm not aware of other tools who are having this ability, what we have currently, but there may be. It's possible. So what this allows you to do is to deliver your work to your customers, your records you collect and inspection reports in a more organized and better manner, and it saves you time. Because in the pre-software world, you will be collating and creating these reports manually. But in today's world, with tools like this, it can help you save time. If you're on the field, your time is your money. So if you use tools like this, it helps you a lot. So I would recommend explore what we have. And if you go online on Google and type asset and lease management software, you will get a number of other solutions as well. Masters in aviation finance would be of any use. I've been redundant recently and I'm exploring. Yes, it would be of use. It would be considered a valuable skill set to acquire. It will give you the inroads into an aviation finance qualification is not just useful to aviation leasing. It is useful to banks also. A number of banks are looking for these skill sets. Indian banks as well as banks in Singapore, China, and Ireland, I know, and US, and European banks, number of banks, some of them we work with, look for these skill sets. Top skill sets leasing companies look in an roles. See, they look for experience as on your technical background. They will look at your know-how. If I'm interviewing you for an asset manager, I'll ask you your understanding of paralegal and commercial. I will ask I'll give you examples of, for example, a real scenario is you're looking at an asset where you find damages. How will you approach in negotiating the terms of that lease? How will you get the situation resolved? you know this industry, and especially asset management, is a lot of it is about people relationships, not just necessary about technical skills. So situation administration of, or interpretation of technical, leasing, paralegal, financial terms, understanding how a lease is structured, that is very essential. If you understand that, and then you can demonstrate that you can manage the lease administration, that helps you a lot.
Okay.
Best way to get into a leasing company, you'll have to apply, look for available jobs, or you can start applying and looking for an internship break, getting your feet wet, so to speak, to learn the ropes, and then go. See, I know that, as I mentioned a few times, aircraft leasing companies are hiring, but I also know, as I mentioned, that aircraft leasing companies are also impacted by this. So possibly the hirings are only happening on need basis, strictly on need basis. That doesn't mean there are no breaks coming in. Maybe you should look at this time to grow your skills, and as soon as the hiring start in few months, start applying for jobs.
Yeah. Alok, we are in extension of the 45 minutes time period we had set in. We can take two more questions. I
Okay.
would advise participants that we will be answering to those questions which are not being answered here through our platform. And
Somebody has raised a hand. Sorry to interrupt you, Vishnu. Somebody has raised a hand. Maybe we can take that question up. Maybe allow Ignatius David is there. He's raised a hand. Maybe you can allow them to ask a question directly then, and then for the sake of variety, we'll get to hear somebody directly, and then we can move on. Yeah.
I have here Shashikant Paul. So I'll have to talk. Yes.
Okay, I have allowed Ignatius David to speak.
Yeah.
You will see that in a few seconds there. Ignatius, if you want to ask a question directly,
Now,
you can go ahead.
now
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you. Yeah.
Thank you. First of all, let me express myself that thank you very much, Mr. Alok and Vishwanath. Both of you, it is a wonderful session. What I was just last 1.5 years almost, I'm enjoying it. And this is my second session with the equipment and variety of knowledge. I come exclusively away from the, entire our aviation industry. Related with your leasing and very new arena you are opening up. It is very interesting. Also, I'm also looking forward somewhere to join you or get in touch with you somewhere. I don't know how it will going to happen, but it's a amazing session.
Sorry,
Amazing session.
Ignatius. Sorry to interrupt you. If you can come to the question, please. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes. I'm coming to the question. My one question is there. As you mentioned that there is no leasing company in India.
Yeah.
And I'm one of the pursuant. I wish to join in such type of environment and such type of area with the planning background, technical planning and part-time background I have with the Middle Eastern Airlines. So can I have some opportunity over there? How I can get in touch with you? Where I can get knowledge, enlightenment from you and your team?
Yeah.
See, you need to. Yeah, Vishnu, do you want to take that?
Yeah. Shashikant, what we have mentioned to is that we have.
It's not Shashikant, sorry, it's Ignatius David speaking, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know who was it. Sorry.
Yeah,
Shashi was speaking.
All right.
And at the end of the session, we will be giving you our website details, and the session will also be available. So, why don't you visit our website? There are direct skill transformation related trainings that are possibly rolling out. One of the training that is rolled out is already midterm inspection. Through this training program, actually, I understood, coming from the maintenance background, what is exactly needed, how best one can get into the leasing industry. This is one of the way to get in. Another one is coming up next month, 18th of September, that is on records management. This will be another requirement for you to get into the leasing. Presumably, this is the simplest way to get into the skill sets of leasing in asset management.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, very
Yeah.
good, very good, very good, very good. So
All right.
thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank you
Can
very
we?
much.
I see one question hand up by Kevin. I'll enable that, Vishnath, and we'll let
Yeah.
Kevin ask the question.
Yeah.
Kevin, can you hear us now? If you can, I've just enabled you to speak. If you want to go ahead.
Yeah. Kevin is on.
Kevin. Yeah.
Okay, so I asked a question about whether I'm the one with MBA Aviation Business Management. So, in order to get into this leasing, what all skills I can get? I should get.
See, the thing is, as I mentioned through the seminar, the most important thing is that you need to focus on knowing. See, you have an MBA in aviation. I remember. I think that was one of the questions you had asked us.
Yes.
So, your skill sets will be focusing on commercial side. I would recommend the same thing which I've said earlier. IATA offers some basic ground level courses which you can explore. You can attend those online courses. There are publications. We owe all of you a list of those which we will send. And there are, see, unfortunately, it's not highly structured. Like any other industry you pick up, you will find structured courses worldwide. It is not the case in this, unfortunately. Though it is changing, we are one of those who are trying to change it, but it will
Yeah.
take time. But in that period, in between, there are other areas where you can fill your gaps. So, online training courses which are available, one. Number two, uh, depending on where you are right now, I would recommend to apply for available asset management or leasing companies. Maybe if they don't have a job to offer you right now, you can at least try and get as an intern to get exposure for a few weeks to learn the basics. Commercial areas will help you a lot. Focus on that. Focus on and then an opportunity comes up in your network. Apply for a job. Naturally, you'll be interviewed, but if you can demonstrate in that your understanding of the business, I'm sure you will be up for grabs.
Okay, so with this kind of effort, I have a chance to get in. Right?
I believe so. I mean, I'm just saying general, but that is in any industry, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. Welcome. So we have, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, that's on Kevin. And the last question which we can take here is, I'm having wide body airplane experience, wanted to be part of tech team of asset management company. Okay, so what you could do is learn the skill sets and get into the aviation, the asset management leasing field. Only thing is now you need to convert your experience into skill sets suited for this industry. That's the only thing that you can do now. Yeah.
I see Manish has asked there about the courses available. Manish, I think we've answered this through the conference, through this whole webinar, but on our website, on our training page, we have a number of courses listed. I'd request, in the interest of time, I'm just saying, I recommend that participants refer to that, and that'll give them a quick primer on that. And you can write to our training. We can give guidance in case you're interested in Acumen courses. Explain the term lease administration asked by Cyril. This is not the subject of this discussion. It is a similar question to which was asked earlier about some asset management. I tried explaining that lease administration will be origination of assets, setting up a structure, special purpose vehicle, invoicing the lease rentals, managing the whole commercial and technical aspects together, everything, not just technical. That would be, in a nutshell, what lease administration would be. Okay. Should we? I think we have taken a lot of questions and we have gone beyond the time. Unfortunately, we don't have any more time. I have a hard stop. I have another call waiting. We're going to wrap this up, but we have a recording which we can share. And I wanted to thank everyone who has joined us today. Thank you for your patience and time and asking these excellent questions. We hope it was helpful and useful to everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Vishnath?
Thank you. Yeah. If you have any questions or interest in training opportunities and developing your skill sets, you could visit our website and the email which is on your display, training@acumen.aero. You can write to us, and of course you can connect to us at connect@acumen.aero. We also have published now it will be up soon on the website. That is the catalog, that is skill sets. These skill sets training catalog purely based on the training need analysis that we have done. And those are the courses which are up for grabs. And probably in this lean period, and you could develop your skill sets. So we also tied up with the Jain University for our, as Alok mentioned, for a leasing and financing course and a technical asset management course that will be up soon. Probably you can expect it in last week of October, first week of November. That is on. That will be available, and that's a way to go about. And I really thank you all for your participation. This training, the webinar will be available on our website and podcast channels, and you will also be receiving the link to get through this webinar once again if you wish to view it again. So we thank you all for your participation. In fact, it was our effort from our heart to help and to dissipate the knowledge and the skill sets that are required in this particular leasing and management field. So thank you once again, and see you sometimes on the upcoming webinars. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vishnu. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye.